what date is it? The 12th, January 12th, 2021 meeting of finance to order. Let's do roll call. Alder Galvin.
Here.
Alder Corpus Dax.
Present.
And Alder Dorf is present, and Alder Johnson will soon join us. Also, alders, we have Alder Gerlach, Alder Stoyer, and did I miss any alders? I don't think so. All right, also with us today. So I will entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
Second.
Motion to approve by Alder Corpus Dax, second by Alder Galvin. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Right? Approval of the minutes from December 8th, 2020. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Alder Corpus Dax.
Second.
Second by Alder Galvin. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay. Regular business. First item, for consideration with possible action of refunding opening it up here. I just went into the document, refunding 2011 A and 2012 E general obligation purpose bonds. Staff.
Hey, thank you. I actually have John Mean on the line. He is from Baird, and I will actually turn it right over to him. John, do you want me to put your presentation on the screen?
That would be great. Thank you. And if you wouldn't mind being the page turner as I walk through it, that'd be helpful.
Sure.
Maybe.
Give me a moment. You can start. You can get it started. Yeah, you
Sure.
can start talking, and I will work on this.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your time this afternoon. You may recall that last fall, we conducted a current refunding of some of the city's outstanding debt. And we only did it because we had an opportunity to take advantage of interest rates and call dates and save some money. And what we typically do is we track the city's debt to see what issues are rolling towards a call date that it could be advantageous to replace the debt that's outstanding with new debt at lower interest cost. And that's why we're here today. Next page. As was mentioned, we're talking about refinancing two different issues. There's the 2011A and the 2012E. Next page. Just a brief description of each of the issues. You can see on the left side, we have the issuance, those are the titles of each of the debt issues, the date of the issue. So we have July of 2011 and August of 2012. The magic about those dates is that it's very typical back then, way back then, right? That the call provisions were in the 10-year range. It would be callable once you hit the 10th year of the life of the debt. Well, since then, now we've had calls in 8 years or 9 years, whatever the market will accept. But at this time, it was a 10-year provision that allowed you to call the debt away and replace it. The tax status of these two issues, these are both federal tax exempt bonds, not state exempt, but federal exempt bonds. The maturity structure is the 2011A goes out to 2026. It's final maturity. That was a 15-year issue at the time. And the 2012E goes out to 2027. That's the last payment is in 2027. So that was also a 15-year issue at the time. And the amount of debt that's callable that you could call and replace is $2,365,000 for the 11As and $2,900,000 for the 12Es. And within each of those, for the purpose, you can see a good portion, a good chunk of the purpose was either for general fund for each of the issues, or a little portion was for the sanitary sewer. So we're looking at saying, okay, that's where the purpose, and they will really be the beneficiaries, each of those funds, that the debt service cost will be reduced for both the general fund and the sanitary sewer fund. You look at the interest rates on the callable debt, we're talking about 3% to 3.5% or 3%, depending on which the issue is and maturity dates. And you think, wow, 3% rates, we can lower those? Yes, we can. because the redemption provisions, April 1 of 2021 for each of the issues, allow the city to call the maturities and put out new debt in their place at lower cost. Next page, please. So what's a proposed issue? Well, the proposed issue is what we would call the 2021 general obligation refunding bonds. We're assuming a date of March 9th. All that means is that's when the funds are actually delivered. The cash is provided, though the call date is April 1st. They were provided ahead of time. The maturity structure, it's the same as the old bonds. We're not extending the debt. We're keeping it within the same life. We're not adding any new principal for projects. We're just doing a refunding. And the estimate, because we don't know for sure right now, but the interest estimated is 1.10. So yes, when you look at the 3% or 3.25% rates that are outstanding, we're able to reduce those pretty significantly. Well, that's because these are so sharp. Remember, these are only a 5 or 6 year maturity to it, so that's advantageous. You're a strong credit, so that's advantageous. And we have some investors who are looking at nice block sizes for an issue of this size. I should add that the proposed issue size is approximately $5,278,000. That's the range we're looking at. The resolution that we're going to be asking for the Common Council to approve, should you forward it to them, is to say a not to exceed $5.3 million. Why? Because legally I've got to have a not to exceed number. So it is sort of why a duck, we're not a chicken. You got to pick a number. So I'm putting it 5.3, even though it's not going to be that high for legal purposes. But when you come down the flow there and you get past that true interest rate, we think the savings on a gross basis, which is after cost, but there's a present value test that takes place. Then on a gross basis, it's just under $300,000 saving. So the general fund levy, that's $254,000 and about $40,000 benefit to the sanitary sewer. Now, when we say present value, it's because you don't get it next year. It tests over the 5-year life of the debt between now and 2027, 6 years, whatever it is. That's why there's a present value. You have to say, well, yeah, but money, the benefits received over time, but it's still, as a percent of the par being refunded, over 5% savings. It's significant savings. Next page. Where are interest rates now? Well, that 1 year snapshot, that box at the top, it's just flatlined. Now, boy, you look at that spike back like in March of 2020. Gee, what happened in March of 2020? COVID. The COVID happened. The market went crazy. Interest, in the sense of crazy up to 3%. But the market spiked and debt issues stopped. And then it came back to where we are now. And you can see how the roll to the right, because even with that spike, it's been low on the right side. Now, one has to ask, how long will this go? Who knows? But rates are pretty darn low, and we're looking at taking advantage of that. And by the way, these are both a 5-year and a 10-year grid. The blue color is a 5-year interest rate, and the purple color is a 10-year interest rate. Next page. This is before anything takes place. So you don't have to do anything, right? This is before you do a refunding. The 2011 A issue, you can see the interest rates are from 3 to 350, depending on the maturity. And the 2012 E, the interest rates are flat 3%. So that's what the debt looks like currently, and will continue until you would conduct a refunding. Next page. We're suggesting that when you would look at refunding, not extending the debt, once again, we're keeping it within the original life of those other issues, that the true interest cost is about 1.1, that's our estimate. And you can see the total potential savings after cost are in that $50,000 range. That last little $26,000, that's because that's just one more maturity from 2012 issue that plays out. But the split between the general fund and the sewers fund, though it's not a big number for the sewers fund, why not save? Which is an opportunity to save a couple of dollars. That interest rate sensitivity on the left side, we're just pointing out as interest rates either go up or down with how the savings changes. going forward. Next page. As far as the tentative timeline, we've been working on this for a little bit with Diana and the folks about getting. We believe that there are investors who would be interested in this on a private placement basis. We would place it with them and not be going to Moody's for rating. We would not be. Well, we're trying to keep this. I would almost want to say keep it simple, but keep it on track and take advantage of these low rates that are out there right now. We're presenting the matter to you for consideration as a committee, and if you wish to push it forward to the Common Council, we have that on the calendar for January 19th meeting. We've asked investors to give us their indications of interest. Now, this could all fall through. We could do nothing, but by the end of this month, we'll know what kind of interest rates we're looking at. Would be in a position to finalize them subject to Common Council's award on February 2nd. After that, Associated Trust, who's a fiscal agent, notifies the holders of the 2011 A and the 2012 E bonds that they're going to be called away. So they tell the holders you're getting your money back. And on April 1st, the holders are paid off and the new debt is completely in place. As far as where interest rates will go over the next few weeks, I don't know why they would spike. We've seen little dribs and drab cuts when the rates have gone up 1 or 2 basis points, roughly. But I think it's good block size. I think it's a good debt structure. Your underlying rating is a good underlying rating. We expect that people will be interested in taking a placement of these bonds. Now, I appreciate this is a lot of information, a little bit of a fire hose hitting the Finance Committee. I would say, though, that it's a process that should move smoothly and result in taking an opportunity to save some money. Madam Chair, I'd be happy to answer any questions the committee may have.
Thank you. And I don't have any questions. It's like refinancing your house if the mortgage rates go down.
Right.
It seems pretty easy. But Alder Steuer has a question, and then I'll go to Alder Galvin. Go ahead, Alder Steuer.
Thank you, Chair. John, thank you for this presentation. What I wanted to know is that we're talking and Diana you might fill in on this as well, but the 2011 A and the 2012 E's. So those are 2 specific bonds in those years. Were there any other bonds from any other years that we could look at in the same light, or we're just focusing on this for now? Was there any other wiggle room on anything else?
No, that's a great question. One thing that happens here is that because of, and I'm starting a little bit technical, but the 2017 tax law changes, you're allowed to do a tax-exempt refunding of debt that you can call April 1 of 21. You can't do a tax-exempt refunding of the April 22 calls. You have to do a taxable refunding, which then reduces the savings. So working under that constraint, we're going to continue to monitor and follow and come back, to the Common Council as their opportunities arise. But at the moment, we're hitting call dates now, which allow us to do a tax-exempt refunding to get that lower rate. But you'll hear from me again.
Okay. Well, that's very good. I appreciate the information. Thank you.
Thank you. Alder Galvin.
Thank you, Chair. I guess my question is, you said if people are interested in taking the bonds, so there is a potential that we could make the offer and either there's some interest, but enough to cover all of it, or just no interest at all, and then what happens?
Well, then we just call it off. It was nice to see you. I'm sorry I wasted your day today, but that would be a case where we tried the market and there was an interest, so we all move on. There's no obligation to the city at that point. You haven't sent out call notices. Nothing changes from where we were yesterday.
All right, so we make sure we have a bird in the hand before we go trying for 2 in the bush.
Right, exactly. I will know, and actually, I think the date we provided to the investors is to tell us by January 25th.
All right. And then once that happens, February 2nd, it goes to council. Is there any risk if, for whatever reason, something comes up at council that delays it on the 2nd?
Well, the only risk would be, if the council votes no, well, then everything blows apart. We don't go any further. If the
Okay.
council says, gee, we want to think about it to the next meeting, that's fine. We can think about it to the next week meeting. But there'll be a point in time when the investors say, I've got other places to go. I have other things to do. But that would be the only risk.
All right. Thanks so much. And thank you for everything you've done thus far.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions from the committee or anyone else? Any other alder? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Hey, Barb.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Diana.
Alder Johnson, are you signed in? Civic Clerk Pam is not seeing that you're signed in.
No, I'll do that right now. Sorry.
Thank you. Before we take a vote.
I would move that we save money.
Thank you. Is there a second on that?
I'll second that.
Second.
All right. Second by Alder Galvin. And then we're waiting to make sure he's signed in before we take a vote.
Yes, please.
I'm in.
All right. Although, are we going to do this? We're not doing this on the screen though, right? No. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nay. Motion carries. We will hopefully save some money. Thank you so much for that great
Thank you.
explanation.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank
All right.
you.
You also.
All right. I got to get back to item number 2. Review the City of Green Bay's 1033 program inventory. I recall we did this recently, but we're going to review it again. And I think we do have Commander Warwick with us. So Commander Warwick. Oh, and the chief is here. Okay, Chief.
Hi, I will defer to Commander Warwick on this. This is something that you ask on a quarterly basis. Oddly enough, it's been a quarter. There's only 3 items here. I'll let Commander jump on board.
Good evening, everybody. So Mayor Genrich asked we just bring this in front of the committee on a quarterly basis. You'll see on the document included in your packet, there's 3 new items. We got a van, which a van is used for an extra van for the SWAT team to be deployed, not for SWAT officers, just for SWAT supervisors to go to the scene and kind of run incident command out of. There's optics on there. There's 4 optics for the SWAT team. It's just saving the department money. Scopes that go on rifles, it saves the department money by going through the 1033 program instead of purchasing those out through our equipment budget. And then finally, a new department robot, just used a couple weeks ago, or we used the robot a couple weeks ago on that big call on West Walnut Street. The 1033 program provided us a new robot, and we're going to send the old ones back. So when you look at that Excel spreadsheet, the ones in yellow are all the stuff that we want to send back to the 1033 program. Unfortunately, they're not accepting any returns due to COVID, but once they do, we will be returning all that because we are audited by that program to ensure that we do have the equipment and we're not selling it or making money or giving it away. We still are responsible for that equipment until it is returned.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the committee on this?
Motion to approve.
Maybe just a comment.
Oh,
Yes.
So when you had that incident on Walnut, you guys actually parked that vehicle right in front of my house, and I saw the robot come out. So, but yeah, you guys had stationed your command about a block away from the incident, but that was, yeah. Thank you for all your work on that. Totally unrelated, but thank you for the leash on that Alderdorf. Police department did a phenomenal job with that.
Thank you. I had a little dog issue for a moment. You know, it is COVID. So I had to mute and leave the scene. All right. So there's a motion by Alder Galvin.
yeah, motion to approve and hopefully never have Alder Johnson go through that excitement again.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alder Johnson. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. And motion carries. All right. The next item is, uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Come on, computer. Okay. Number 3, approval of the repair replacement of Plymouth systems at fire stations for the sum of $399,000, sole source and supporting documentation attached. And is there anyone here from the fire department? Or I don't think so, but
look like it. I guess I can give you what I know about
Okay.
it, since I'm the one who worked on the project. The Plymouth vents, which is the venting system for exhaust in the fire station. So if they're going to run one of them vehicles in the building, they hook up the Plymouth vent to the exhaust system and able to vent it outside to avoid dangerous situations in. They have, at the fire stations, have reached their end of their useful life. But they still have components in there that are usable, whether that be through repair or they're still functioning. So the decision was made to replace them directly with Plymouth vent, so that it's one for one, so that they can reuse certain aspects of that, saving money rather than installing an entire new system. So that is why we went with the sole source. And then it is a territorial situation that Plymouth vent, there's only one installer, one distributor in our area that's authorized and licensed to sell in our area. So it really brings us down to only having one option if we're going to do the kind of reusing old parts situation that we'd like to continue to do.
all right. Any questions from the committee? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Approve.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion to approve by Alder Johnson, second by Alder Corpus Dax. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. And motion carries. Number 4, a request by Alder LaFave to the Finance Committee, which states, I'm requesting a report of the Fair Elections Grant with a financial breakdown where the money was spent. And I believe Alder LaFave is on, and I believe that we have that report in our attachments to the election grant process. So Alder LaFave.
Yes. The reason I brought this up, it's not that I was really questioning things, because I'm sure everybody, knows that they did a really good job on spending the money. And the thing is that I've had some calls from some people with questioning that we even went to them and because it's political and blah, blah, blah. So I wanted to make sure that this was truly available for the public to look at, to see where the money went. Everything's above board, and that everything was spent like it should be, and it was all for the COVID relating issues and trying to make sure that the election went well compared to what happened before. But then I have a question for Director Ellenbeck. The balance that is left, and I can't get it on the computer here, but that's okay. I did see it. Can the city use that if we have a primary in February, and if not in April, because I'm pretty sure that we're still, even with the vaccine coming, we're not going to have we're supposed to have 70 to 80% people vaccinated to be safe for everyone. Can we use that money for the elections coming up?
Again, yes, the remaining balance as of the 7th, when I ran the report, is about $795,000 of the balance. I will say our chief of staff, Celestine Jeffries, has been in contact with the CTCL, who provided the grant for us. The recommendation is that we were able to use that to buy additional equipment. I am not clear right now if it can be used for the February and the April primary. That would be a good follow-up question that I would either refer over to our chief of staff, or we could refer back to the grant, the company that gave us the grant. So again, when there was I did not attend the one meeting that they talked about what they'll still allow for us to spend that money on. But I believe, from what I understand, it was meant mostly for equipment and to better and enhance, our elections in the future.
Because I'm wondering if we can use it for, again, we'll need, protection, COVID protection for our election officials and the people running the election. Can any of it, you'll have to find out if we can use any of it for anything that we need coming up. So that would be something that you can report back. Yeah.
Yes, and we can report back, but what I can tell you is that in this case, there was quite a bit of PPE that was ordered ahead of time and that we still have in stock for that election. And of course, no matter what, we always have a election budget, so we will absolutely make sure that all the necessary safety precautions, information that materials that we need will be on hand to make sure that they're all, we can run a safe and safe election.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
That's all I have on this issue.
Okay, I think, do we need receive and place on file? Would that be the appropriate motion? Oh, Alder Johnson has a comment. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. And just to reaffirm, Director Ellenbecker, I think this is what you stated, but essentially, Chief of Staff Jeffries right now, she is looking into whether or not we can spend this money moving forward. Is that correct? And we just haven't gotten a determination on that yet?
I do actually see Chief of Staff Jeffries on the line. Not sure if she is able to answer that question. Otherwise, I could reach out to her and try to get an answer from her. Celestine, would you have an answer to that?
Sure, Director Ellenbecker, Alder Johnson, Alder Lefebvre. So what the process is, we had a conversation back in early December, closeout conversation with our mentors from CTCL. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Okay, no, I'm not. And what we can do is I already have that email basically saying if you would like to use the funds and basically get a 6-month extension on the funds, we have to apply for that by the end of January. And that is for the first pass of money. So that's the $1,093,000. The second pass of money was $522,000. And so, Director Ellenbecker, that $795,000 balance, that's from both the $1,093,000 and the $522,000, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Right. So that means we have approximately, $275,000 ish of the original $1,093,000. So Alder Johnson, that is the money that we can apply for an extension. I'm not sure what's going to happen to the 522. I will find out by the end of the month and be able to report to you in early February.
Okay, so and the reason I'm asking, of course, I'm asking this question without seeing, the grant application or the grant agreement in front of me. But it was my recollection that this was about being able to host safer elections.
Correct.
And clearly, the pandemic is still ongoing.
Correct.
In spring elections. And so, it seems to me that the need could potentially still be there.
Yes.
So are they continuing to give these grants for other elections?
So my understanding is, my understanding is that they may be looking to reallocate funds to other entities looking to have safer elections for 2021. But they're first dealing with their 2020 grantees, namely the city of Green Bay and other entities across Wisconsin and the United States. They want to give us the opportunity to say how we can use those funds moving forward for our 2 elections in February and April of 2021.
Okay, so in one of the questions I think that I have, and this may seem a little left field, but obviously with this particular grant, whether it was warranted or not, and clearly it wasn't because the lawsuits were discharged, but the city of Green Bay, was involved in a couple lawsuits on this particular grant. Do you know offhand how much legal time, that we had to spend, even if internal, and could the grant potentially cover some of that time?
So I do not know how much legal time we spent, but I can tell you, and I see a city attorney Bunkert is on the line. We cannot use those funds to cover our legal expenses. I already know that. I already asked.
Okay. Do we know how much time was spent?
I don't know if Attorney Bunkert knows.
Assistant City Attorney Matter is also on the line. Yes, please.
So there was primarily one case that specifically dealt with this grant. A second federal case was subsequently filed on behalf of the Trump campaign, and it mentioned the CTCL grant, but it wasn't the primary focus of that one. So and we also hired outside counsel for that one. So just this report is just on the one that was filed here in the Eastern District of Wisconsin, which is still pending actually in front of Judge Griesbach. We were named with 5 other cities, and collectively we worked to file a motion to dismiss and a reply to their motion for a temporary injunction. And so it did require a fair amount of staff time. I can't give you a certain number of hours. Both Vanessa and I were both working on it, along with the in-house attorneys from the other 5 cities. It did, however, happen relatively quickly. So it was a lot of hours in a relatively short span. And now it's just kind of in a holding pattern as we wait for Judge Griesbach to decide the motion to dismiss. So
okay.
I don't know that that fully answers your question, but I don't have a more specific answer for you.
Yeah, and I think that's good enough. I'm not looking to get off topic too much here. It's so much as I was curious really to learn, was it a substantive amount and is it something the grant could cover? And so, Celestine, do you know then, did they say specifically that it couldn't be used for that, or is that just an inquiry maybe that we haven't made yet?
No, I made that inquiry. And
you did? Okay, good.
Yes. Quite some time ago, actually.
Okay.
The answer was no.
Okay. Is there anything else?
Alder Dorf?
Yes, Alder Lefebvre.
Yes. Well, then can I ask, then I don't think you want to go to receive and place on file. Do you want some direction then for the staff to go ahead and to apply if we can extend that and use the balance?
I think they're already done that.
Yes, we are in the process of making that application for an extension of funds.
Okay.
I think what we're just narrowly dealing with right now is the request that you had made to give the financial breakdown. And so that is what I would entertain a motion on.
Yeah, right. I just want to make sure that we're not, like she said, we have to do it by the end of the month, just to make sure that we're not, out on something.
Yeah, they're doing it.
This. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So is there anyone that would like to make a motion? I'll make a motion that we receive. All right, Alder Galvin, receive and place on file. Seconded by Alder Corpus Dax. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nay. Motion carries. So we'll receive and place on file. So the next item, number 5, report of the Claims Committee. It was a rather short report. Are there any questions about that? If so, we'd have to go into closed session.
Motion to receive and place on file.
Okay, motion to receive and place and file by Alder Johnson, second by Alder Corpus Dax. Further discussions? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries. And informational, the contingency accounts, we have a little bit left over, but perhaps it's encumbered. I don't know. I'll ask Director Ellenbecker.
Nope, at this point, that is the remaining balance that has not been allocated or spent from the 2020 contingency account.
Okay. And what will happen to that? Do we just put that back into the general fund then, or do we leave that to use in 2021 if we need it?
It is just like any other budget item that's not spent in full. It just goes really to the bottom line, becomes part of your part of your fund balance.
Fund balance sounds good. Okay. And then continue 2021 is $150,000. And have we used any of that yet?
Nope.
No. Okay. So the next Finance Committee meeting will be held Tuesday, January 26th at 4:30. And I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Alder Corpus Dax.
Second.
Second by Alder Johnson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. We are adjourned. When would you like us back, Alder Galvin?